Texas primary election results are rolling in after a night of high voter turnout and several close races across the state. In some contests, no candidate got the majority needed to win, meaning voters will return to the polls for runoff elections in May. Jalissa Garza shows us what happens next.
Last night's results picked nominees for the November ballot, but not all. Several Texas races aren't over just yet. They're headed to runoffs in 2 months.
The Republican and Democratic primaries for U.S. Senate were two of the most high-profile races on this year's Texas ballot. State Representative James Tallarico won the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate, defeating Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. CBS News reports Crockett called Tallarico this morning to congratulate him and urged Democrats to unite ahead of the general election. Meanwhile, no Republican candidate cleared the 50% threshold needed to win the primary, sending incumbent Senator John Cornyn and Ken Paxton into a runoff. Both candidates addressed supporters overnight as results came in.
I've worked for decades to build the Republican Party, both here in Texas and nationally. I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
Tonight, change was on the ballot and change won. Texans want new leadership. They want someone with a proven record of fighting and winning for them. And that's exactly what I'm going to deliver. Because for too long, John Cornyn has turned his back on us.
But the Senate race is not the only contest headed to a runoff.
Incumbents in danger. You've got several who have been pushed to runoff. You've got a railroad commissioner race going to a runoff. You've got the attorney general's race going to a runoff, and obviously the Senate race going to a runoff too. There is, I think, a moment in the Republican Party where they're looking for insurgents.
And the race for the newly drawn District 18 between Christian Menifee and Al Green also appears to be heading to a runoff.
The runoff election is set for May 26. For a full breakdown of results across Texas, just head to our website, khou.com. Reporting in the Montrose area, Jalissa Garza, KHOU 11 News.
Jalissa, thank you. Overnight in Dallas County, confusion over multiple court orders. A district judge ordered polls to stay open until 9 last night after hundreds of voters were turned away or confused about where to vote. Then the Texas Supreme Court blocked that order and ruled votes cast by voters who were not in line by 7 p.m. would need to be separated. Right now, it's unclear whether those will be counted. Tight races and long lines could be seen across Harris County, too. Ugochi Iloka stopped by Election Central, where they are tallying the votes. And Ugochi, early voting hit a record in Harris County. What about on Election Day?
Early voting was a record high in Harris County for midterm elections in the state, and a record high on Election Day, too. The Harris County clerk says voter turnout felt like a presidential year, which is not typical in comparison to midterm primary election numbers, which have been historically much lower. This is video of crews bringing ballots from across the county to be counted at Harris County election headquarters. We also saw some law enforcement canines sniffing and checking those ballots and that equipment to make sure it's all safe. As of 11 p.m. last night, 8 vote centers still had people voting. That is 4 hours after polls technically close. The first batch of ballots arrived to election headquarters just before 8:30 p.m. Tuesday night. The Harris County clerk explains what they have left to do, and we hear from a voter that casted his ballot last night.
We're finishing our checklist of items, and you will start to see more Election Day results come in here shortly on harrisvotes.com. My team is working to get those next set of results in for Election Day. Early voting in person and by mail is already on harrisvotes.com.
I think it's our civic duty to vote. I feel like elections like these don't get as much love as the big presidential elections, but they have a really big impact on our day-to-day lives. I think more than some of the national elections. Like, I don't know. I think it's really important to come out for local elections.
Election staff and volunteers will spend the rest of today working hard to count all of the ballots. The deadline is 7 p.m. tonight. Reporting outside Harris County Election Central, Ugochi Iloka, KHOU 11 News.
A busy day indeed. Thank you, Ugochi. We'll have more election coverage throughout the day on air and streaming on KHOU 11+. You can also find full results right now on our website, khou.com.